This is a review of the Henry Cordless vacuum cleaner. Some tout this as the greatest cordless cleaner on the market, but here's my experience and some facts. It's about 200 quid, give or take, depending on where you buy it from. For a cordless, that's fairly cheap, but alas, there's a good reason for that. I'm just going to get straight to the performance testing results, because that's a big chunk of what actually counts. The other half is the practicality of using this thing, which I'll come on to afterwards. Deep and surface cleaning tests were carried out as discussed in the video with the first link in the description on the most difficult type of carpet to clean, namely deep pile fitted carpet with non-porous backing. This needs good suction, and thus this testing doesn't allow for trickery, cheating or dodgy bypassing of cleaning limitations like most of what's shown on YouTube. The Henry Cordless has two modes. The default is mode 1 and there's a mode 2 boost. These are the results of the deep cleaning testing. The Henry Cordless only managed to remove just over 40% of the injected dust after 12 cleans, and about half when in boost mode. In other words, mode 1 leaves more behind than it removes, and boost mode 2 leaves half of it behind. That's astounding, especially when you compare it with the V11, which some pernicious channels contrasted very badly against the Henry Cordless. This really shows how untrustworthy and unrespectable some are out there, and you can really judge their value from the concealment of this important objective performance review. The data shows the V11 is the best cleaner out there, as shown in my review in the second description link, and it not only manages to get virtually all the dirt out without using the highest suction setting, but its default mode can get hugely more out in just one pass than the Henry Cordless can in its max mode after 12. These facts say it all. The Henry Cordless is a cosmetic surface visual dirt remover, just like its larger corded mains counterpart, but leaves your home in squalor. The Henry gives a bad name to cordless vacuums. Achieving mains level cleaning performance without a cord requires superior design and technology, and the Henry clearly doesn't have it, despite its cost. Performance this derisory makes the rest of the review a bit academic, but it's worth looking at what it takes to achieve this disastrous cleaning performance, just as an exercise in humiliation for pneumatic, and why it's a borderline scam and genuine blemish on the environment. The Henry might be cordless now, eliminating one big hassle I complained about in my review of the mains Henry in the third description link, but it keeps every other horrid hassle, such as often needing two hands to cart it around, the huge flailing hose and main unit, and the large footprint of storing it in the cupboard. The V11 simply hooks on the wall off the floor if you set it up right, although there is a floor dock you can buy, which is slightly less elegant. I can't emphasize enough how much of a pain it is to manage the Henry's hose and wand and main unit together. It's bulky and cumbersome, and still fairly heavy at 6 kilograms, which is double the weight of the V11. The flaws of the cylinder design are readily apparent as you wrestle tugging the main unit around and suffer it clouting furniture and getting stuck on things. The hose really is a pain and is always getting in the way. On top of this, the floorhead neck joint is bad and really restricts manoeuvrability, in contrast to the V11, whose ball joint allows total flexibility and freedom of control. It really makes a difference in use, especially in tighter spaces. The floorhead itself is extremely rudimentary, with no advanced technology in it at all. It simply sucks air through a groove as you rub over the surface. And there is no alternative head for this, and it's sold and expected to be used exactly like this. So complaints it's only a straight suction head are simply invalid, not that that was ever a valid excuse. It's marketed and supposed to do the exact same job as any vacuum cleaner, with any feature set, but it doesn't do it as well, and is objectively inferior. It may now be cordless, but the hassle of a cord has been substituted with the hassle of a charger and the battery management. Assuming you've remembered to charge your batteries beforehand, you've got to get the charger out when you're done, plug it in, take the batteries out of the machine, plug them in the charger, When one's charged after 3.5 hours, you've got to remember to come and swap it over and charge the other. Then wait another 3.5 hours, take that one out, put the charger away again. And when you're using it, you only get 30 minutes out of a battery at best. 20 minutes really, seeing as everyone will be using the boost mode, given how badly mode 1 performs. Then you've got to stop cleaning, go get the other battery, which you've hopefully charged, take the old one out and put it somewhere, then plug the new one in. The sheer amount of battery management hassle is actually even worse than the damn cord. The V11 is light years beyond this and does it right. One battery that has more runtime in eco mode than mode 1 of the Henry, but with power greater than the Henry's mode 2. Look how much better the V2's eco mode performs over mode 2 of the Henry. And when you hook the V10 or 11 on the wall when you're not using it, the battery's charging for you. Literally no battery management whatsoever. The Henry Cordless is a joke. Imagine the feeling when you realise you forgot to charge the second battery halfway through your cleaning job. A stunning example of 1 step forwards and 2 steps back. And these batteries are genuine heavy bricks. How can just one of these things be heavier than a Dyson battery, yet hold less than half the charge? Another example of inferior design and lack of caring about the customer. That's twice the battery pollution to the environment at the end of the product life. A few other issues that I noticed. It uses an old-fashioned heavy conventional motor, which accounts for its huge weight for a cordless. And it takes ages to spin up to operating speed when you click the switch. There are 3 battery lights, which is vague, especially as the V11 now tells you precise time remaining to the second, uses heuristic learning of its usage to ensure that's as accurate as possible, and is self-adjusting in real time during use. Similarly, the charging lights are either red for charging up or green for done. And it doesn't tell you how much the battery's charged, unlike the V11. When you turn it on, you pretty much have to keep it on the whole time because the slow motor and the inconvenient location of the switch on the trailing main unit. So all the times when you're moving around and not actually vacuuming, the machine is on, sapping your limited and valuable battery power. The V11 in contrast has the trigger on the handle, instantly blasts on, and so can be used fully digitally to squeeze up to 30% more cleaning time out of the battery. And always being on will mean the battery's worked harder than it would be, and this accelerates loss of its service lifetime and ability to hold charge in the longer term. This is a quiet vacuum, as these measurements taken at 1 meter show. But then again, this is no surprise, given it isn't really doing anything, and there's just no suction or power. The V11's Eco mode is quieter than the Henry's Boost mode, but has hugely more suction and achieves much greater cleaning performance. That's impressive. The V11's much more powerful and default Auto mode is only 3 decibels louder, but achieves high-end mains level cleaning performance. If a machine is quiet because it's hardly operating, like the Henry, then that's not really very impressive. The V11 is comparably quiet and actually cleans like a powerful upright, as the data shows. And if things couldn't get any worse, this thing uses bags. This technology is all but dead, or should be. As discussed in the 4th description link, there are huge costs and disadvantages to using bags. They do still lose suction, albeit not as much as they used to. But there's less suction to lose now with this weak cordless Henry, so the impact is felt harder, reducing the already lousy performance even more. They market the big capacity, but this just means dirt festers longer before it's dumped, as discussed in the 5th link in the description. This Henry genuinely stinks. It's foul. And they're a messy nightmare when taking them off. No wonder the last Henry I reviewed was so filthy. Taking the official HEPA bags off sprays dust and filth everywhere, and all inside waiting to be sucked through the rest of the machine. No wonder they don't get good emissions ratings. The whole lot can bypass the HEPA bag. And you've got to go near this dirt, despite having hole covers, which don't really seal the dirt in very well anyway, as you can see here. This is in contrast to the V10 and V11, which get rid of the dirt in 5 seconds without cost or mess, as demonstrated repeatedly in the 6th description link. The Henry bags are also £1 a piece to replace. That's a £1 tax every time you want to empty, not to mention the environmental impact all these bags have over time. It's all completely avoidable now. Essentially, this cordless vacuum is an example of a cordless done badly that's a step backwards from its mains-powered counterpart. Superior competitor products, like the V11, show cordless can be done right and hugely step forward over mains cleaners, retaining full performance but with all the practicality usage benefits of the cordless form factor. The Henry cordless cleaner replicates all the problems of its mains equivalent counterpart, and what it gains by losing a cord, it loses in otherwise avoidable battery management and utterly shocking performance. There are some particularly pernicious YouTube channels out there that misleadingly performance reviewed this Henry to the V11 and drew conclusions which were opposite to facts to mislead the audience. I think the evidence shown here really shows the scale of that. This Henry is the worst of both worlds and a prime example of how not to do cordless vacuum cleaner technology, because the final product is genuinely worse than its mains counterpart. It remains a cumbersome and costly nightmare to use, but now performs even worse. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It may only cost around £200, plus a lot more for replacement bags over its lifetime, but you still don't really get what you pay for. I simply don't accept claims that this dire product is excusable because it only costs 1/3 the price of the V11. It's £200 and achieves virtually nothing. At least the V11 gives you what you pay for, and you get a product that actually works really well and does exactly what it says on the tin, which incidentally is what the Henry claims to do as well, but fails spectacularly as the evidence shows. My advice is not to be fooled by a silly-faced paint job. Save up and buy a real cordless vacuum, like the latest cordless Dyson stick vacs, which are objectively hugely superior in every single way. I hope you enjoyed the review, and thanks for watching.